Welcome to the top 5 horror movies to watch around the holidays, aka Christmas time. These are the top 5 plus some honorable mentions of some horror films we always watch in the month of December or around the holidays. Horror is a big part of the holidays if you don't know, you know what I mean? There's a lot of fans out there who don't like horror, what have you, yada yada. So I want to wish you guys a Merry Christmas whenever you're watching it. It's about 16 days away in 2019. And happy Friday the 13th, because that's when I'm releasing this video. Anyway, let's get to this amazing countdown. Number 5, 2008's The Children. It's about a bunch of kids who become infected with the sickness that makes them turn against their parents during a relaxing Christmas vacation. Now, this one is really, really campy. It's really, really low budget, but it's really, really good. It's a fucked up twist on a Christmas story. Anything that's involved with kids, you know what I mean, that are doing fucked up things or possessed, what have you, is always a good time. And this is the one that a lot of people don't know about. So you definitely got to check out The Children around the holidays. It'll freak you out. A fun fact about this movie is that it was nominated for the 2009 Fright Meter Award for Best Horror Movie. So definitely check it out if you haven't seen it. On to number 4, 1980's Christmas Evil. Harry Stadling first starts to get weird thoughts in his head as a kid when he sees Santa, really his father in a costume, groping his mother. Then he becomes unhealthily obsessed with the holiday season, deludes himself into thinking he's Santa, and goes on a killing rampage. Now, this one you might not have seen. You definitely should have, but you might not have. I'm a huge, huge 80s baby. I grew up in the 80s, not giving up my age as always, but I loved 80s horror films. I had tons of uncles. We always watched them. My grandmother loved them. My mother loved them. And 80s, as you know, if you're a horror fan, was a huge time for slasher movies and a big time for holiday themed movies. Doesn't matter if it was New Year's, Christmas, your birthday, Halloween, there were tons of them. This was one of the Christmas ones that were out, and this one's actually pretty decent. So if you haven't seen it, definitely check it out. 2 fun facts about Christmas Evil is that director Lewis Jackson came up with the basic idea for this film after smoking marijuana one night during the 1970s and seeing a vision of Santa Claus holding a knife. Also, the same writer-director Lewis Jackson spent several years collecting all the Yuletide props you see in Harry's house. Talk about dedication. Number 3 on our list is 1972's Tales from the Crypt. This is another great anthology horror films when they put a bunch of stories in one. It's about a tourist group that gets lost in the ancient catacombs where they meet a sinister man called the Crypt Keeper. He tells them each their fate, and they're all crazy, crazy horror stories. It's really, really good. It has a great Xmas story in it that stars Joan Collins. I think they redid it in the 1990s TV show with Dr. Giggles, which we actually will get to, but this one is great also. It's about a chick who kills her husband on Christmas Eve, but a crazy man broke out of a mental institute and he stole a Santa suit from a local Santa working, and he's looking for a place to hide out and kill. This woman's at home and she actually just killed her husband and she's trying to hide the evidence, and she's got crazy fucking Santa Claus outside trying to take her out. It's a kick-ass classic story. And like I was saying, All Through the House was remade by producer and director Robert Zemeckis as the second episode of Tales from the Crypt from 1989. And as I said, we'll get back to that in a minute. My number 2 top horror movies to watch around the holidays is Silent Night, Deadly Night, 1984. After seeing his parents murdered in front of him, a young boy spends most of his life in an orphanage where he is abused by his mother superior. When he becomes a teenager, he gets a job as a department store Santa. When seeing 2 people having sex in storage brings on flashbacks of his parents, his turmoil leads him to becoming a Santa serial killer. You see a pattern here? These kids see crazy shit on Christmas. It always involves sex and their parents, and the motherfuckers go back crazy and start hacking people up, thinking they're Santa Claus. But I remember when this came out, and I was born and raised in Jersey. I was watching the news with my mom. The videos were up on YouTube, but I can't find them anymore. But literally, parents went buck fucking wild crazy about this movie. They were protesting outside the movie theater. They were in the news. They're interviewing them at their table, having coffee, talking shit on it. It was fucking insane. But this movie I remember watching as a kid with my uncles, and it's a fucking classic. Some fun facts about 1984 Silent Night, Deadly Night are: the release of this film was picketed, as I said, by angry parents who were not happy to see Santa Claus depicted as an axe murderer. Despite the fact that Tales from the Crypt in 1972, which we talked about, had done the exact same thing 12 years earlier, and Christmas Evil, which we talked about, had done the same thing in the 80s. As a result, box office sales plummeted, and the film was shelved for another year, where it saw new light in an uncut video form, which you can't get anymore, but it became a cult classic out of that, and it's a bona fide hit. And another fun fact is that it opened the same weekend as A Nightmare on Elm Street in 1984. It actually briefly outgrossed Nightmare on Elm Street by almost $162,000. Silent Night, Deadly Night was playing in more than twice as many theaters as Nightmare on Elm Street. And then the gross fell to about 45% the second weekend because of all the parents picketing. Now, before we get to our number one holiday horror movie to watch, let's go over some great honorable mentions. Of course, there's ones like Gremlins, which is amazing, but I did cover that on my Christmas videos or holiday videos, and it pretty much is a horror movie. Those Gremlins fuck people up. Let's get back to that Tales from the Crypt episode we were talking about. It's called An All Through the House. It's the same story pretty much as the Tales from the Crypt movie, but this one does star Dr. Giggles. A crazy guy escapes a mental home and terrorizes a mother who's home alone with her young daughter, but the mother actually killed the husband before he showed up, so the mother is not so innocent. The twist at the end is awesome. I remember watching this on Tales from the Crypt on TV as a kid, and it always stayed with me. And I think it actually is better than the one with Joanne Collins from the Tales from the Crypt movie. So definitely check out that episode. I actually posted it earlier online. Some fun facts about All in the House is that in the season 1 episode, and All Through the House, the radio announcer warns the Gain County area of the escaped maniac in a Santa suit. This is a reference to William Gaines, the publisher of the comic books in the 1950s. Also, when a police officer calls the wife, he says his name is Feldstein. That's a reference to Al Feldstein, one of the Gaines' top EC comic employees. So if you don't know, Tales from the Crypt and shit like that, we used to be in comic books. There were about 3 or 4 fucking stories in a comic book, and they were fucked up. They had 3 different hosts and like 3 different versions. One was the Crypt Keeper, one was the Witch, and one was something else. When I was a little kid, I didn't read them. I didn't get my hands on them, but when I got older, like 12, 15, they did reprints of them, and I used to buy them, and they're so fucking awesome because you've seen them all on TV by now, blah, blah, blah. So check those out. Our second honorable mention is holidays. Even though I did cover this on a past holiday video, you gotta put it in because it's a companion piece, an anthology with a bunch of short horror stories that take place on a bunch of major holidays. In the movie, The Christmas Story, it stars Seth Green. He plays a father on Christmas Eve who will go to deadly lengths to get that Christmas present of the year for his child. A fun fact about this is that Seth Green and Claire Grant play a married couple and are also married to each other in real life. And one of the bullies on the swim team is wearing a red hat with a rainbow on it, just like one of the bullies from the 1976 movie Carrie. And just on a side note real quick, if you don't like this stuff, you could skip it. I don't throw propaganda out there or anything like that. But there was this guy, and his name was Cappy. He did YouTube videos. He exposed a lot of Hollywood pedophiles. pedophiles. Believe it or not, Hollywood is a cesspool for pedophiles, and a lot of actors, actresses, and higher-ups are pedophiles in real life. This guy, Cappy, was friends with Seth Green in real life, until one day he was over Seth's house, and Seth actually showed him a secret room. It was like a Batman behind a panel wall you wouldn't even know. In the secret room, Cappy claimed that there were bunk beds, kid toys, and all that, and Seth Green and his wife literally fucked and molested kids back there. And then come to find out, Cappy revealed a lot of people, Steven Spielberg's, Tom Hanks, what have you, and guess what? They killed him last year. So definitely check out Cappy, Kappy, and open your eyes to what the fuck's going on in Hollywood. Just like Corey Feldman saying, he might be crazy as shit now for money, but what he's saying is true. All right, people, it's the holidays, so let's get back on a great note. But I just wanted to pass that along because that's information people should open their eyes to. And our final honorable mention is 1974's Black Christmas. This movie should have been on the list, but it's a reason that it's not, which you'll see next, so you can read between the lines. But the plot is, during their Christmas break, a group of sorority girls are stalked by a stranger. This movie is creepy AF. You can catch it in black and white. For the time it was made in 1974, the murders in it, what the killer was doing, some of the scenes in it, the fucking ending still freaks me out when I hear it and watch it till this day. It was definitely ahead of its time, and it's a very, very dark and gruesome flick for that time, and especially around Christmas. A fun fact about the original 1974 Christmas is that one of the times when the character Jess answers the phone, it continues to ring for more than a second after she picks it up. And also, about 7 minutes into the film, when the moaner calls, you can clearly see the boom microphone at the top of the frame as everyone gathers around to listen to who's on the telephone. So they're getting a crank call from some weirdo, and you can see the microphone right above their heads, which is too funny. But on to our number one top horror movie to watch around the holidays. It is the 2006 remake of Black Christmas. Black Christmas 2006. And I was researching it because I love that movie, and they added the tagline to it now, to the title of the film. It's called The Night Billy Came Home, which I think is really lame. We'll just call it Black Christmas 2006. What it's about is that the holiday season turns deadly for a group of sorority sisters who are stranded at their campus during a snowstorm. These co-eds better watch out, for a vicious killer is on the loose, and he will not care if they are naughty or nice. Now, if you ask any true fans of Black Christmas, probably 92% will say that they like the original better, and they hate this one, or how dare you pick this one over the original. But just killing-wise, story-wise, visual-wise, what have you, I like the remake better. Like, this dude, Billy, is fucked up. He fucks these bitches up. And the cast of characters, the girls are pretty cool, you know what I mean? They don't get too deep with them, but they're cool regardless. The way it's shot is fucking cool, and it's just crazy. The story's really, really wicked. Again, involving a kid seeing something crazy happen on Christmas, and then that fucks with them. So you gotta check out the 2006 remake of Black Christmas. It's our number one. Fun fact about it is that it was originally titled Christmas Night, then later became Black Christmas, The Night Billy Came Home, to respect the fact it's a cult classic. I think they got to get rid of that Billy Came Home thing. And also, I think, next month or this month, probably, maybe next year, it should be this month, they're actually releasing a re-release of Black Christmas. And it looks absolutely fucking horrible. If you ask me, it shouldn't even have the title Black Christmas on it. All right, peeps. Well, Merry Christmas and Happy Friday the 13th. I really hope you enjoyed this video. I really liked researching it and putting it together for you guys. It was my pleasure. I will be back soon with some more videos. I got a lot of things in the pipeline, and I just got to get time to do it. All right, so once again, Merry Christmas. I hope you check out some of these recommendations. Remember to check us out on all social media, and definitely I hope to see you guys back here for our next video. Remember, like, share, subscribe, show a brother some love. As always, I'm your host, Lee Benz, for the AEW Insider. Ciao, peeps.